This video is about decomposing fractions, and this is the first lesson in our new fraction unit. To talk about this concept, I am going to use Lesson 1 homework. I'm going to model a few of the problems off of this page. Looking at the example problem, they want you to draw a number bond and write the number sentence to match each tape diagram. So if I look here, this tape diagram represents a rectangle that is split into 3 equal parts. 2 of those parts are shaded. Therefore, the fraction of the shaded part is 2/3 because 2 out of the 3 pieces are shaded. An addition sentence for 2/3 is 1/3 plus 1/3. Each 1/3 represents a piece that is shaded on the rectangle. Another way to show this addition sentence is by creating a number bond. When you create a number bond, the total always goes in the top bubble. In this case, the total is 2/3. The parts of the addition sentence go in the bottom bubbles. So in this case, 1/3 and 1/3. Looking at letter B, first off, I need to count how many pieces are underneath my whole bracket. So you'll notice at the top there's a bracket that represents one whole. Underneath that bracket there are 1, 2, 3, 4 total pieces. Therefore, my unit is fourths, which means that each of these pieces equals 1/4. So underneath this shaded piece, I'm going to write 1/4. And underneath this shaded piece, I'm going to write 1/4. Therefore, my fraction of the shaded pieces is 2/4. To write my addition sentence, 2/4 equals 1/4 plus 1/4, which is shaded in my rectangle. Now, to draw a number bond for this addition sentence, I put my total up top, which is 2/4, and then I draw 2 bubbles off of that 2/4 because there are 2 fractions in my addition equation. Inside of each bubble will be 1/4. I'm going to skip down to letter D and show that as an example as well. So underneath my one whole bracket, I need to count how many pieces there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. So my unit is 6. Now I need to count how many shaded pieces there are above each underneath bracket. So when I look at this underneath bracket here, I see that it is covering 3 pieces. Since each piece is worth 1/6, 3 pieces is going to be 3/6. So my fraction that goes underneath this bracket is 3/6. Above this underneath bracket, there are 2 pieces. And since each piece represents 1/6, this fraction will be 2/6. So now, when I write my addition equation, there are 5 total pieces shaded out of 6 pieces. So 5/6 equals 3/6 plus 2/6. When I draw a number bond to represent that addition equation, I'm going to put my total in the top, which is 5/6, and then I have 2 parts to my addition sentence, so I need 2 bubbles that go below. In the first bubble, I will write 3/6, in the second bubble, I will write 2/6. On this front page, I'm going to show you one more example problem, and this example problem represents when a fraction is greater than the whole. So looking at letter F, the first thing I need to count is how many pieces are underneath my one whole bracket. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces underneath the one bracket. You'll notice there's an extra piece on the end here because this picture represents a fraction that is greater than the whole. So since there are 5 pieces underneath the whole, each of these pieces represents 1/5. Now I have to look at my brackets down below. Above this whole bracket, there are 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this fraction is 5/5. This piece here still represents 1/5. It's an extra piece. So this bracket here on the end represents 1/5. There are 6 total pieces shaded. So this addition sentence is 6/5 equals 5/5 plus 1/5. I would write that number bond by putting my total on top, which is 6/5, and then I should have 2 bubbles coming off the edge, 5/5 and 1/5. Another way to write 6/5 is 1 and 1/5 because 5/5 equals 1 and then I have 1/5 left over. So 6/5 also equals 1 and 1/5. Now on the back side, you have to do the same thing on top, labeling the addition sentence. On the bottom, they give you the addition sentence. You have to create the tape diagram. So let's look at letter A. 5/8 equals 2/8 plus 2/8 plus 1/8. So I see that my denominator is 8, so I know my unit is going to be 8ths. So I'm going to draw a rectangle and split it into 8ths. To split this rectangle into 8ths, I need to draw 7 lines on the inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My first fraction is 2/8. So I need to shade in 2 pieces, draw a bracket, and write 2/8. My next fraction is also 2/8. So I need to shade in 2 more pieces, draw a bracket, and write 2/8. And my last fraction is 1/8. So I need to shade in 1 piece, draw a small bracket, and write 1/8. I now have my addition sentence that represents this picture. 2/8 plus 2/8 plus 1/8 equals 5/8. For these problems, you do not have to draw a number bond. Now, let's skip to a problem where the numerator is greater than the denominator. So I can see my denominator is 12, so my unit is going to be 12ths. So I draw a rectangle, divide it into 12 equal pieces, so I need to draw 11 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You'll notice I now have a rectangle split into 12ths. So my whole here is 12ths, but my fraction is 13/12. I know right now I only have 12 pieces. So an extra piece needs to be added on that's not included in the bracket. Now I can go through and shade my fractions. So 7/12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Draw a bracket. That equals 7/12. 1/12 is my next fraction, so I shaded 1 piece, do a small bracket, and write 1/12. And 5/12 is my last fraction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw a bigger bracket and write 5/12. Again, you'll notice I did shade in this last piece. However, it's not included under my total. Because if I did include it, that would make my unit 13ths. But my unit is only 12ths. So I stop the bracket at 12 pieces and I just draw that extra piece on. So 7/12 plus 1/12 plus 5/12 equals 13/12. And the last problem that I'm going to model for you is letter E, when we have a mixed number or a mixed fraction. So this is called a mixed fraction because we have a whole number and a fraction. Now I know that my unit is fourths because my denominator is 4. Your denominator always tells you what your units are. So I know that in this case, 1 also equals 4/4. And over here, 1 equals 4/4. So if I draw this rectangle, I know that I need to draw 2 rectangles because my fraction is greater than 1 whole. I'm going to split each fraction into fourths. So I draw 3 lines. Now 1 plus 1/4. Well, I know that 1 whole is 4/4, so I need to shade 4 pieces. So this equals 1. Now over here, I need to shade in 1 piece because I have 1/4 left over. So this bracket equals 1/4. So now 1 plus 1/4 equals 1 and 1/4.